Hello everyone, so we are live. I hope this is working, but please comment below if it isn't.
Yeah.
This is live, so there may be technical hitches.
Fingers crossed.
So I am here with my bestie, Rhiannon, and
Hello.
we are going to be talking about the topic of overtraining. Now, as a PT, first and foremost, this is something that I've seen with my clients and actually seen an increasing problem of. So what tends to happen is that I'll get a client come to me and we have an hour session with all of my clients. Each session lasts an hour, and I try and pack that session with as much beneficial stuff, beneficial exercises that I think is going to be right for them. The issue that then happens is that some of my clients feel as though suddenly, that's not enough. That they then come to me and say, well, I'm doing this hour session, but should I then go and do a class this evening, or I'm now going to go and do my cardio? And I'm like, hang on a second. Like,
There's so much pressure.
There's so much pressure, and I feel like a lot of it stems from social media. It's become all-consuming. We feel as though we're constantly surrounded by people that are constantly working out, and we want to tackle the issue. So I've got Rhiannon here as an excellent nutritionist.
Thanks, hon.
We work very, very closely together.
We do.
And so it's important that I had her on here to kind of discuss the impact that overtraining has and the effects that it has on the body.
It's definitely something I see a lot of as a nutritionist. I tell Alice all the time, I've got people that are coming to me, they're working out X amount of times a day, and of course it's really concerning.
Exactly. So I've got a list of questions that I'm going to say to Rhi, and then if there's anything else that you guys want us to discuss or cover, then please leave us a comment and let us know if you enjoyed this as well. The two blondes are going to tackle the world head on. Dream team.
Yeah.
So I've got my first question here, which is, as a nutritionist, what would you classify as overtraining?
This is a really interesting one, Alice, because I see a broad spectrum of people of all ages. I get a few, let's say, teenagers coming to me, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and a common theme does lie in all of them. I get lots of people saying, I'm getting up before work, I don't have time to eat breakfast, I'm going to the gym, I don't know what to eat afterwards, and then after work I've got another class or an event, and I'm trying to fit everything into the day. So I tend to classify it as when it becomes a problem or a stress and it's hard to maintain because the nutrition suffers. So you find more and more people are trying to squeeze everything in, and then they're not seeing the results that they want to see.
Yeah, and I think to add psychologically as well, for me, if a client comes to me and they start to beat themselves up because they happen to have missed a workout, or they didn't go to the gym, once a day, or, that week they just so happened they were super busy, and they start to really beat themselves up about it.
Internalize everything.
Yeah.
Guilt, feeling guilty.
The feeling
How many
of
of us feel guilty when we don't get to go to the gym?
Absolutely. You have to find, and this word crops up a lot, and sometimes I think to myself, what is balance? But I think that you have to find that balance of, we know we need to keep active, so that's not what we're telling people not to do, but it's just a case of keeping active without obsessing over keeping active and without obsessing about having to go to the gym.
It's the enjoyment that's taken out of it. So I see Alice training, and I know she loves what she does, and we all want to get to a level that we feel we've achieved something. It's great.
Yeah.
But there's that line when it saps your energy, and I see so many people that are suffering from elements of depression. They're eating spirals, they get binge eating patterns, you overeat, you undereat, and it causes a little bit of a roller coaster.
Exactly. So the next topic I'm going to talk about, and probably something we can both touch on, but what would you classify as the symptoms and signs of overtraining? If someone can't necessarily personally admit to themselves that they overtrain, are there certain signs or symptoms that you might recognize in a family member, a friend, or like you, for example, with your clients? How would you recognize it?
Definitely. There are so many factors, a lot of cognitive factors, the things to do with the brain. If you're feeling low in mood, if you're feeling a bit depressed, concentration is a good factor, a good indicator. If you find your concentration is waning and over time it's getting worse, that's a big thing that plays a role. Blood sugar cycles, so if you're craving sugary foods more and more throughout the day, or your appetite's rocketed or plummeted because you can over-exercise and starvation mode can kick in, and automatically you kind of get used to that feeling of a lack of resources. Your body knows it's not going to get enough, and it kind of starts to shut down, and you burn away at muscle rather than at fat, and that can cause weak strength. I mean, you must see it in terms of muscle strength.
Absolutely. So I mean, a lot of you guys know, our muscle is, our energy is stored in the muscle, and when that becomes depleted, the chances of having a good workout becomes depleted too.
Yeah.
So, it kind of becomes counterproductive, because you want to train because you want to look great and you want this amazing physique, but actually what you're doing is depleting the muscle of any chance of being able to give that workout 100% effort.
Definitely.
So it kind of, although in your head it might seem as though I need to do, more equates to better, that's absolutely not the case.
It's definitely quantity or quality. I would say the quality of your workout, would you say?
Absolutely. So we're looking at having a really efficient workout, but that doesn't mean spending hours in the gym. It really, really doesn't. And that's something that I try and impress on my clients as much as possible, is that their session with me is enough. Don't feel like you need to leave me and go and do like a million things more.
And that's the pressure we see, because in society we do see people doing more and more. We're always striving to achieve, but we've got to find what works for you or I. We're all different.
Exactly. So next question. Physiology. So with the body, for example, what would you say are the main effects of overtraining on the body?
Right. I want to talk about hormones as number one, because I get this so often with so many clients. A lot of people come to me, I specialise in eating disorders as well as sports nutrition and weight management. So if you're trying to lose weight, hormones play a big role, and over-exercising increases a hormone called cortisol. Stress hormone, and that means fat storage, but it also has a knock-on effect on estrogen for us ladies out there. So many of us women know that it's harder to lose body fat, because naturally our bodies from day one, we're built to have more fat, guys, because we're going to have babies one day. That's the kind of biological process of female hormonal metabolism. But if estrogen drops, it can't regulate insulin, which is another factor that plays a role in fat storage. So imbalanced hormones, and of course depletion of nutrition. If you're overtraining, your growth hormones depleted, your zinc, your B vitamins, iron, everything starts to shrink, guys, because your body's burning on empty. So that has a knock-on effect on what you crave every day in your diet as well.
But I also think it's worth talking about, it moves the set point of your kind of depletion of energy.
Yeah.
So if you continue to overtrain, you continue to kind of move that set point from, maybe you started in the middle here, for example, where you had loads of energy and your training sessions are going really well, and suddenly you start to overtrain. So you're training more, so your energy becomes depleted, and that set point moves lower and lower. But that then becomes feeling as though that is your normal. So even though you're really far from where you started, you start to feel as though your energy levels are normal, because you're overtraining and overtraining. It becomes a vicious cycle.
This is linked to endorphins.
Exactly.
So it's like a drug. So look at sugar, for instance, or anything else. I'm not going to use the example of cocaine, but it's kind of a similar. If you get, not that we would know, but if you exercise too much, you get an endorphin high from exercise, but your body gets used to that level of endorphins, guys. So before you know it, you're doing too much to get the same kick that you were getting at a lower level, like you were saying. So endorphins are crucial.
Exactly. Next, and this is something obviously we can both talk about, what are the benefits of rest days and why it is so important?
Rest days are essential from a nutritional perspective, which I'll discuss the nutritional perspective. Our bodies are not designed to be pumping it out every single day. It's simple fight or flight response that dates back to in the wild, if you needed to run for a lion or something crazy. Is probably a really bad analogy. In today's society, we're put through this every day anyway. If we're stuck in a traffic jam, we're late for work. Rest is crucial to restore that nutrition. Look at food as enjoyment and fuel for your workout the day after. You don't have to work out every day. It takes time to build up those glycogen stores. It takes time for your bones to get the right amount of calcium, the vitamin D, the different metabolic processes inside the body. We need rest. Even to feel good, our brains need rest.
From a PT point of view, I was recently watching a YouTube video about the training of triathletes.
Wow.
This is quite specialised, but I'm going to relate it to everyone. So this guy was coaching triathletes, and they were elite level triathletes, and he was talking about periodization of training. Now, periodization is something that I don't know if a lot of you guys know about, but it's basically talking about the regression of training, tapering down training to allow the body to recover to then work towards an end goal. and it's essential, and a lot of athletes use this method. It's quite an old method that's been laid. I think it started within. I can't remember what sport it started within, but then it was kind of used by all athletes as a way of preparing the body for an endurance or for a high energy event.
Because you don't do that every day. It's
No.
not something you're going to do every day.
My point, and why I'm talking about triathletes, is that these high level athletes are incorporating rest structurally into their training.
It's planned.
It's planned, and it's imperative to their kind of success. Now, we're not training like athletes, we're just going to the gym. So it's so important, you know, if it's important for them, it should be important for us. I know some people that are training, you know, ridiculous amounts, and they're almost training like athletes, and yet they're not incorporating the same care and attention to their body that those kind of people are.
Yeah.
And it's because they don't have a coach saying, you know, you need to take a rest, or they
Because it's okay to stop.
yeah, and they might not have a PT that's like, okay, you're gonna, you know, you're going to have a day off this weekend, you're going to have 2 days off, you're going to allow the body to recover. I also work really, really closely with a guy called Matt Taberner, who is a strength and conditioning coach at Everton Football Club, and we were having a chat recently about overtraining, actually, and you know, he was saying that a lot of the time he takes at least 2 days in between his big lifting sessions because his body needs to recover.
Talking of footballers, it's the same, because I work with a few footballers at the professional level, and they all take rest, guys. They all take rest. Cricketers, whatever sport you are in,
Yeah.
and we should treat ourselves as individuals. If you're starting out and you're just going to the gym, like me, for instance, I've started to learn.
We're working together on it.
We're working on it.
together.
We're working on it. But because my level is still really intense, because I'm not used to going so much, I need rest days. Just because I'm not at triathlete level doesn't mean I don't need rest days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think the point of the moral of the story from my end is that, you know, it is so important. Allow the muscles to recover, allow the body to recover, allow the rest to happen, both mentally and physically, and then come back stronger the next day. And I can't tell you the benefits of when I take, you know, this whole the week just gone, I've only trained once, and actually for me, I had one of the best gym sessions I've had on Saturday, because you know what, I was so busy, I couldn't train, I felt pretty tired, and actually you come back fighting. So it's so important. Right, next question. Why do we both encourage long-term non-physical goals? And what I mean by non-physical is so for example, and I wrote a post about this recently, but you know, I have a lot of clients that come to me, and within my first session, I'll always ask them about their goals. You know, what do you want to achieve? What can I do for you as a PT? Because, you know, I know in my head what I think I want them to achieve, but that's not necessarily what they want to achieve. So it's a case of finding what we both want to achieve out of the session. But I always try and encourage them to be non-physical. So they'll say to me, you know, I don't like this, or I don't like that, or I just wish my arms were
pointing,
belly. Yeah, exactly. And for me, I'm like, okay, that's great, but we're going to move away from that, and we're going to move on gym-based goals. What can I do within the gym environment that is going to be a much more significant goal than just focusing on the body?
And short-sighted goals. I think we always think of aesthetic kind of short-term goals, or in 12 weeks I'm going to get abs, or... You've got to remember, guys, that what I see in clinic is I see a lot of people of all ages, as I've said, and it's so important that exercise and nutrition work to help you age nicely. You want your strength, because our muscle mass deteriorates as we get older, as does our bone health. We can't build more bone than we've already developed by the age of around 25. So look at long-term goals for your brain. You don't want to be living with diseases, chronic diseases when you're older. The benefits of actually working out sensibly means we're all going to be rocking it and walking around with no pain when we're in our 80s.
I think we all know, you know, the benefits of strength training, but not just strength training, just staying active. You know, there are benefits to it, and we're not sitting here saying don't work out. Like, whatever way of exercising you enjoy,
happiness,
go for it. Exactly.
Yeah, whatever makes you happy.
But have goals that go beyond the physical. Have goals that go beyond, you know, looking for something. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to pinpoint this.
Feel energized. A goal to feel energized works for me with Optimum Nutrition just as much as it would for your workouts.
Absolutely, absolutely. I touched on this at the start of the video, but I think it's something that both me and Ree feel really strongly about, and we have had many a phone call about...
Here we go.
Here we go. About many a rant, I should say,
yes,
about the current social media phenomenon and how it's affecting a lot of the people that we see day to day. So I think we're now going to talk about why overtraining is an ever increasing issue. starting with social media. So I'm going to let Ree kick off, and I'm
Okay.
sure that I'll probably try and butt in at some point.
No, definitely. Thanks, Alice. From a nutritional perspective, guys, it's become really scary. I work with eating disorders a lot as well, and over-exercising is like anything that's not done in moderation, in terms of controlling eating as well. If you're under-eating, overeating, the pressures to look a certain way, be a certain way, train a certain way, follow this restrictive diet, everything is a form of control. If it becomes to a point in your body, in your lifestyle, where you feel under pressure to commit to what you're doing, and it's stressing you out and it's making you miserable and sad, that is when it's a problem. I actually wrote a blog this morning about orthorexia, and one of the categories I find a lot in anorexia and orthorexia, which, by the way, is a male and female condition. Eating disorders are not just for women, they're ever prevalent. The pressures on men, which you'll probably say.
Just to say, I tweeted a link of Rhiannon's blog that she posted this morning, so if you do want to have a read of that, you can find it over on my Twitter.
Thanks, babe, because you really should. It's very, very common, and we do feel ruled today. The rise in healthy eating is wonderful, but not when it becomes a problem, that it's all you're thinking about when you wake up in the morning and when you go to bed in the evening. And this will be affecting your long-term health. It really will. And social media isn't real. I think I kind of need to add the fact that it's great that Alice and I can talk to you now. I mean, technology's fab.
It is exciting.
But if you're waking up every day and you're looking at a picture of someone's food and you feel you can't replicate it, afford it, or stick to that, or you crave something different, it becomes a real problem.
I think that furthering that, from my perspective, I just feel as though social media has become all-consuming. So it's currently the idea that, you wake up and you check your social media and you see this person doing this and this person doing that, and perhaps to a certain extent I might be guilty of it. I post my food every day, and I might be guilty of encouraging people to feel as though they have to get up and make a really nice breakfast. That, I'll hold my hands up, maybe I do, but it has become this ever increasing thing with the rise of Snapchat, with the rise of Instagram stories. Suddenly it's no longer just a 2D image that we're seeing people constantly, what they're doing, where they're going, how much they're exercising, and it becomes a little bit suffocating.
And it does induce thoughts of feeling guilty and all those feelings.
And suddenly, and even me and you have had this conversation where we've both said, you're lying in bed on a Sunday morning and X, Y, or Z has got up and,
done like an hour gym session.
Tackled the world and probably baked a cake at the same time and juggled in one hand while they
baked a paleo cake or
a
vegan cake.
And you suddenly feel as though, oh my God, am I not good enough? Is what I'm oh God, should I be doing that as well? And that feeling of guilt or feeling of kind of, oh God, what, I'm not them. That's what I find dangerous. And detoxing yourself, and I hate that word, but I like it.
It works with this.
I like it within the context of social media. Removing yourself from, if you find that it's becoming suffocating, if you're finding that you're constantly checking socials and you're constantly feeling as though, I'm comparing yourself to all these people and what are they doing and what are they doing, because they did this, I'm going to do this. And, it's wonderful to use it for inspiration. But if you find that balance is shifting to kind of pressure, and you're moving away from just using it as a source of inspiration.
And forgetting your unique goals. Because I tend to say with clients, look, when you look in a mirror, you only see yourself. The image is you looking directly. But if you actually look in the mirror, you've got this vision to your left and right, which is taking up the extra space in the mirror. But we tend to focus on that one sole picture and scrutinize it rather than taking in the bigger picture.
Absolutely. So, if you find yourself moving from where you once saw something as possibly inspiration, leaning towards that kind of pressure, that kind of feeling of constantly having to do this, to do that, to be busy, to do X, Y, Z,
worrying about food and exercise every day. If it's preoccupying your mind.
If it becomes obsessive, you need to take some time out. You need to take yourself away from social media. You need to stop kind of involving yourself in it, so that you can get that mental clarity of, there is so much more to life than looking down on your phone.
We've all got dramas in life.
If you look up, if you have conversations with people, if you take yourself away from that whole kind of world of
Snapchat
and whatever, and you see that there's a bigger picture to life, you can start to appreciate that it really isn't the be all and end all.
And tasting your food rather than making it just look pretty. Really take a moment to savor what you're eating. This is something I find myself going over with clients all the time.
Yeah.
Mindful eating.
Exactly. So I think, social media has its place.
Definitely.
And I think that it's worth saying that I just don't think it's going to go away. But it's finding coping mechanisms to deal with it in moderation. And we talk about moderation with food.
We do.
And we talk about moderation with exercise. But nobody really talks about moderation with social media.
Exactly.
So maybe that's what we need to do.
I think there should be a new thing, because experts are not sure what's going to happen, guys. I was at a conference the other week and we don't know where Instagram or Snapchat's going, and it's concerning on a psychological perspective, especially for kids growing up, younger and younger generations. So what we can do is be a good role model, and we can also find our own balance within it.
Yeah.
Switch off your phones before you go to bed. The standard kind of stuff that sometimes, I get told off by my boyfriend for being on my phone when I get into bed. He's like, "What are you doing? Put it away." And I was like, "I know, I should." We all get
We are all guilty. We are all guilty, and we're not sitting here as like pinnacles of we turn our phone off every night and we say our prayers and go to sleep. We are not saying that.
I wish.
But I think we can all learn a lesson from just using social media in moderation.
100%.
Finally, we are going to stop soon, but we are just going to end with a question. So how are we going to combat this issue? How are me and you going to proactively combat the issue of, one, overtraining, which you've obviously discussed, and then two, the kind of all-encompassing kind of social media phenomenon? So,
right, my way of combating this is just to urge you all to seek qualified advice, first of all, evidence-based advice on things, because there's a lot of what we call pseudoscience floating around on social media, and focus on you as an individual. Like Alice said earlier, your goals can be great goals, but they've got to work for you, and your body is unique.
And also just everything you do is within the context of your own life, and everyone has their own context that they live in, and you will never understand the next person's context of their own life. So just be you in your own context, in your own bubble, and allow inspiration and motivation from places, but just be your own person,
and switch it off if it becomes a real drain. If it becomes hard.
Exactly. And for me, I've tried to move myself as a PT forward by, as much as I always want an explanation for everything that I nutritionally do, and I want evidence-based kind of information always. That's what we should always strive for. And if anything ever goes beyond my means as a PT, that I will always cross-reference each other. I outsource clients to
I will always ask Alice for help. I'm not an expert by any means in every field in the world. We all need to ask for help.
We all need to ask for help sometimes. And working together is actually, for me, one of the best things that I've ever done. And sharing information and sharing kind of positive kind of sides of things, as well as uncovering the negatives, as both
we should all be working together, not criticizing or comparing ourselves. Let's just get the whole world to be one big dream team.
So basically tonight me and my bestie are sending you love. We hope you have enjoyed our overtraining topic. We hope you haven't found it too negative, but we just wanted to share a little bit of information with you guys, and I hope that it's been beneficial. I'm going to finish by saying that I absolutely know this is not the first time that we will be doing one of these.
Lots more
if you have any other topics that you want us to cover, this might become a regular thing, so we might schedule one for very soon. So please leave us any recommendations below.
It gives us an excuse to get dinner afterwards.
To get dinner and get together and see each other. And I'm just hoping that this has been a positive end to your Sunday, and have a great week, everyone. Try not to over-exercise, scale it back, be healthy, be sensible, and
focus on you.
Big love from us.
Bye.
See you later.